one day you're gonna die. And, you know, that's it. Do you plant trees for people to sit under and realize that other people are gonna follow after you? Why not make it a little easier for them because you came first? If you're not doing that, then what are you doing, I guess? When you break down humanity to a core, all religions, Hindu, Buddhist, Judaism, if Jesus Christ sat in the table with Muhammad, I don't think they would have any bad arguments. I think they would be friendly to each other. Jesus would treat Muhammad the way he would want Muhammad to treat him, and vice versa. There's something that we innately have as far as goodness.
That's all I've been thinking about. Generativity versus being a degenerate. One of the books that I've been reading is The King Within. Robert Moore, he's the one that did the King, Warrior, Magician, Lover archetypes. The King Within, there's a chapter called Degenerative Men. And that's why everything I post on Dynamic Father, it's all about being a generative man. And the opposite of that would be a degenerate. Someone who life ends with him or her.
Yeah.
A man who's focused on himself and looking to accomplish things for himself, not thinking about the next generation, or at least affecting the next generation without even them in mind. Because they believe that what they are is right. But when I think about the next generation and talking about like my podcast with Gracie, I think about the next generation because I'm wrong. You know? And when you tell me that you're thinking that, you're feeling that, because I think every guy will hit that point. Men or women, obviously, but I think it's more at the ready for men because we're mission focused. We try to become something of value in the world. You know, men become.
We try to generate.
Yeah,
something.
we try to create and generate, produce life. When I hear people say, "Oh, like, you know, family's not for everybody," like I'll agree with that. It's not for everybody, but I would ask people, do you want to be able to share your knowledge with someone and teach someone younger or teach someone who could benefit from what you understand? Then honestly, the real challenge is start a family and teach someone from a young age how to have value and honor in life and principle. And that's why I believe at the end, like, because there are old people now that wish they had families, or they're struggling to still teach someone in the next generation or this coming up generation because they had the desire to be generative.
Like leaving something
behind. Which is 100% at the ready when you have a family. You have no other choice.
Yeah.
But it's crazy to me that you're even feeling that or thinking that. It makes so much more sense. And I'm not saying because like I have kids. No, I really truly believe that everybody at some point wants to give to the next generation. You're a generative man, or we want to be at least, right?
Or at least we have that desire to be.
Exactly,
you know, like innately.
Yeah.
To kind of help, I think. But no, the weird thing is that, I think you get to a point where it's not necessarily you have your own literal bloodline. You know, you have offspring. But at the same time, when you get to a point of you look at the world as this is my home and all the inhabitants of it are on the same boat as me, we're all brothers and sisters. We're all trying to survive this life. We're all trying to understand this life.
Yeah.
We're all trying to find some sort of purpose in life.
Yeah.
So, you know, that empathy of understanding other people are struggling just as you, it just makes you want to, you know, look at who's behind you, who's beside you, who's in front of you. And you look up at the hill and you think, let's all get there together.
Exactly.
You know, like let's help each other. And that empathy comes from like I look at everyone like brothers and sisters, and I look at the younger generations as you're going to inherit the world in the future. And someday, if I have children, they're going to inhabit it. You know, my nieces will inhabit it.
Yeah.
And you want them to be surrounded by people like-minded like that. You want them to be surrounded by people that will help and that are willing to be the good.
Yeah, that's exactly it, man.
It's a strange. I never knew how I could get to that kind of mindset.
But my question would be, how did we get there? Because from what I see, or at least what I could kind of put together, is we're living in times that are getting harder, I think. Or I think it's exposing a lot of things that we took for granted. And it could be the reason why we start seeing things like this.
I think we're feeling ripple effects and consequences of decisions that were made back in the 50s, 60s, you know?
Yeah.
Manufacturing factories, you know, you can get really technical with it. Like we could make food for cheap and sell it for a lot, you know?
Yeah.
That's how.
And it lasts longer.
You know, save money, cut corners. And I think we're starting to reap those consequences of cutting corners. You know, as far as comfort, as far as everything, you know. So I think it's we're feeling it now more than ever, but I don't know, like it just makes me want to go back to a more simpler time, and makes me want to go back, because more than anything, people are trying to go fucking paleo, you know, vegan. They're trying to.
True.
I mean, fasting, you know, really helped me out a lot.
Yeah.
But then that is one of the oldest. It's like an old tradition of how to heal and how to, you know, reset your body, reset your mind. It's just a strange time, but
but that's the beautiful thing. I think hard times are going to expose a lot, and even more so, I think when we think about how to deal with certain times like this, it's not only to think of giving to the next generation, but what do we give to them? Which is why I believe for my family, faith is going to be one of the strongest pillars that we'll ever lean on. I think being a man of faith in this modern time is, I mean, not frowned upon, but it's not given any value, and it's almost scoffed at. And everyone's kind of like, well, you know, I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious or whatever. And I think, you know, like I've had a weird journey, and I've talked about it a lot on the podcast about coming back to the Catholic faith, or reverting back to the Catholic faith.
Full circle.
Yeah. Even more so now because I'm a father. And I think the difference that I'm noticing that pulled me back in was I was looking for something to follow. Like, not just a belief of like God in the sky and I'm going to follow God. It's more of practical things that I can do in this physical world that will bring me closer emotionally, spiritually, and in my soul to a source of life, a source of a guiding compass. And the way I felt was discipline practices, sacrificing yourself. And I don't know if it's just a coincidence, but, you know, we grew up as Catholics, and it kind of brought me back to what I understood of what it means to love somebody, is to sacrifice yourself.
So you kind of like, you're seeing that from a new perspective.
Yeah.
Coming back into it from the other angle this time.
Exactly. With more at risk.
Yeah. More at stake.
Yeah. Even more now. I welcome it. Not that I want to suffer. It's more of, when you have more at stake, it's worth it because you're giving up more for them, which is the path to real peace, real passion, you know? And, like I said, the Catholic faith, I felt like I came back to it because it is the full narrative of discipline, sacrifice, giving up everything for love, for life itself. And however that translates to other things, like, you know, I'm not going to knock any other religion. I'm not going to tell anybody to believe anything else, but it's what helps me stay disciplined and stoic, you know?
And at this point, it's not about staying disciplined and stoic for not only yourself, but now it's for other people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like you said, impacting the people around you on the hill. Like, how do we help each other get up there?
Yeah.
And it's not being like, okay, well, you know, take it easy. No, you have to encourage your fellow man. It's tough as hell, but we're all going through it. And okay, these are strategies that help us, but remember, whether you want to or not, you have to. And I think that's the number one thing, because of pride. Like, we don't like being told what to do. We don't like hearing you have to do something.
Yeah.
It's funny because now that like we're older, it's like, I wish someone fucking tell me that.
Tell
like,
me what to do.
Yeah, this must be done.
Yeah.
You know, like, that makes me understand it better, to be like, okay, yeah, I get it now, and I'm going to get it done.
But it's like you go through a rebellious phase when you're younger.
You have to.
It's like, oh yeah, like you have to do it this way. It's like,
Exactly.
oh, I don't want to be boxed up.
Exactly. We've had those conversations even growing up. Like I don't have control over my life. Like, this is the one thing I have control of.
Oh my God.
And I don't want to be told what to do. I want to choose it myself. So we're given that opportunity. After college or whatever, we start working, we have our own money, and it's like, all right, I'm free to do whatever the hell I want. I remember like those times, like we would go to Vegas with our friends. It's like, man, we have the whole world at our hands. We have money. We can do whatever we want, have like those experiences that we want, and like feel like kings.
Yeah.
And then you realize that life is not what kings do.
No.
That's not how kings live.
Yeah.
So, and like when life hits you back, now we're talking this way of like, all right, life is simple.
Yeah.
It's,
you get to a point where you realize, okay, what really do I get out of life? And, I think we're at the point in our lives where we're kind of midway, as far as like, common thinking, we're midlife.
Like
and
chronologically, whatever.
you're supposed to be midlife around 30s, 40s, whatever.
Yeah.
But the truth is like I kind of was waiting for some sort of midlife crisis to like kick in, and I think about what our parents were doing when they were our age.
Yeah.
And I think like, were they going through a midlife crisis at some point? And then I realized, no, you don't have to go through a midlife crisis. I think I would have gone through some sort of midlife crisis. Maybe, I don't know. There's still time, of course.
Yeah, I was like, are we speaking too soon?
Yeah, there's still time. But I think I saw a fork in the road where I could have a midlife crisis and think, oh shit, half of my life is done. Did I even accomplish half of the things I want to do? And it's like existentialist, from an existentialist point of view, you're like, it starts to make you wonder like, oh crap, I'm halfway through life. Oh, did I figure out what this is for yet? Did I figure out why I'm here? Did I do something while I was here so far?
Yeah.
And you start to scramble and think, I need to do more. And no, you can think of it that way, or you can think of it glass half empty and think, I've learned this much in my life, and now that I see it from this new angle and this new perspective of, okay, I've known what's back there. I kind of have an idea of what's in front of me. How can I make the best of it? And it's like, how can I maximize who I am as a person up until this point so that by the end of my life, I can keep progressing and maximizing who I am? And I kind of felt like I fell into that kind of category of like, oh, I don't look at it as like 35 years are gone and burnt through. I see it as like, wow, 35 years of learning. And man, if I have another 35 years of learning, that's a lot that I can do with that. And a lot more I can learn. It's just weird. But I think life as a tapestry, it's definitely something that you just have to like look at in a way.
Or have at least moments of like reflecting on it.
Yeah.
And reassessing things. Because I mean, like, I'll agree. Like, there's times in your life where you're like, you think you have it all figured out, and it's like, oh, things that I wanted like don't necessarily matter. The day to day doesn't necessarily matter. If my intention's there, nothing else really matters. Mm-hmm. Like that's fine and that's beautiful. Like we have big goals and dreams, and like just like the accepting life as it is also finding peace.
Peace with yourself and peace with your life. I think that's where I am.
But then, like, there is a way to take the subjectivity out of it and look at it objectively. And it's like, well, am I really doing anything for others?
Yeah.
And it's objective. And that's the reality that, like, we talk about trying to embrace, like, reality. And I was talking to you before we started recording. I was like I love my kids. I'll do anything for them. I think I like if I just ask myself, do I think I'm a good father? I think I give what I can, and I feel like there's moments where I'm like, yeah, I think I'm a good father. Objectively, it might be different. And it's like, oh, I love my kids. I'm doing this for them. I'm working, extra hours for them or whatever. But in reality, kids are objective, and they will look at you like, you're not there. You don't help. You don't change my diaper when I need it. You're making me wait 15 minutes with poop in my diaper.
It's very plus or minus.
Exactly.
For them. Oh,
it's very clear. Like you are or you're not, and that's reality. So like when people say, "Oh, my truth," like, well, my truth is I love my kids more than anything. Mm-hmm. The real truth, like the reality of it, is, am I really showing up for those moments to actually help and care for them? So it's a crazy feeling to have like just the subjective and objective like always creep in and out.
Do you know when those moments are there? Like, is it like, you know, you're living your life and you're trying to figure out a problem that you're doing. You're trying to cook, and then you know, and then Mela comes up and it's just like, I need your help with something. Do you know in that moment, like, oh man, this is a core memory. This is like, I need to show up at this moment.
You know it.
Or you just show up
I think you know it after the fact that it checks you.
after the fact.
Yeah.
Oh. How
And,
does it
and
check you?
in the past podcast, like I talk about it with Gracie, like I'd be working here at the table and like I'm, you know, whatever it is, like scheduling students or whatever, and then Mela comes up and she's like, she'll say like dance or like watch, like she wants to watch something on TV, and like, okay, give me a second, like I'm finishing an email, like my thoughts are here or whatever, and then she just literally just drops her hands and just looks at me like, like okay, what matters right now? I thought I show up for my kids. I thought I do this. I thought I give them everything, my all. I'll drop anything for them. Like you have those ideas in your head as a father, and then objectively, she has no real opinion of it. She's like, oh, okay, well, daddy doesn't want to help me.
Yeah.
That's really what it
wants
is.
to watch with me or he doesn't.
So it's that objective, like there is no like feeling opinionate, like there's no opinion attached to it. It's more of like, okay, so you don't want to help.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what the last podcast we got to that. It was just like people need that objective opinion or objective message from someone who really has no opinion on, like they have no real subjective feeling or opinion on this situation. It's more of like you did or you didn't.
Yeah.
Like I'm asking you for something and you don't give it to me.
I mean, that's one thing that's beautiful about children. You know, they just are so genuine and authentic about how they're feeling.
They
You know?
are relentless.
Yeah. Either I'm comfortable or I'm not.
Yeah.
And I cry
Dude.
and I'm not crying. I'm happy and I'm not.
Exactly. Like I asked for this and dad didn't give it to me. You know? And I know like she's like they're still young. Those opinions are gonna be developed. Subjectivity is gonna come in. But they at Mela's age right now, she's 2. She's not yet there. So she's the greatest teacher for me. She checks my ego more than anybody else now. That's what's crazy. It's like, all right, like when does that happen? It can only happen if we truly live in the moment and you read the freaking room. You know, are you really there every moment and feeling the vibe, having that like, you know, empathy for others and, you know, being the empath, like feeling where people are at. What does this person need? What do my daughters need? What does Gracie need? And it's like feeling that out. And who do I need to be right now? Now that sounds like a task. Like every moment I got to be like this.
It's like
But-
you're evaluating your situation at every turn.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I guess it would be something like you just feel it though. You have to just be emotionally available, you know, for your children and for your family.
At the ready.
At the ready.
Yeah.
Emotionally.
And even just emotional awareness, you know, having awareness of like reading the room. you
Yeah.
know?
Understanding like your temperatures. But I mean, I'm sure it comes down to a point where it's like patience,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
Because
dude.
you know, as a kid, like, do you remember any times where you as a kid, your world was, I need to turn on the Nintendo, like, and it's not working. Mom, dad,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the Nintendo's not working. For all we know, they're going through bills and trying to
Exactly.
figure out the how much that, you know, we're gonna write down on the tax returns. We don't know. And like, if I'm doing my tax returns now, how patient will I be with a kid version of me being like, hey man, turn on my PlayStation, bro.
Yeah.
It's like, man, wait.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like kids are just relentless.
But yeah,
It's amazing.
Do you remember any moments like
No,
that?
hell no.
Oh, okay.
I don't
So-
remember. Well, I mean, yeah, like not from like Mela's age right now, but
Yeah.
I think when those moments start coming up, or it wasn't really like maybe not video games or whatever. I'm trying to think if there was any time that mom and dad were like not right now because I'm doing something important. I didn't understand it.
Yeah. It doesn't
I'm
register right away.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie. I think mom and dad did a good job of like hiding that from us.
I think so.
They guarded us or protected us from that kind of, or seeing those kind of things like when they're stressed about something else. You know, I mean, even more so, and I'll give it up to mom and dad, dude. Like, they really valued us just spending time together. I think they pulled us in more
I think so, yeah.
than us wanting to have, you know, more opportunities with them. They made it a point to pull us in more.
Yeah, yeah.
That was our parents, man.
I mean, like, I guess, you know, it just really puts a lot of things into perspective being an adult now.
Yeah.
And wondering, like, man, I mean, dad had me when he was in his early 20s. And I'm thinking about how I was when I was in my early 20s, trying to raise a kid like me. And it's like, oh, man, you know, much respect to, like, parents.
Yeah.
It's a responsibility, and it's a mission that not necessarily people would be happy to take on. Not a lot of people. Yeah, not a lot of people would be happy to take on, but how crucial it is for the future of humanity, if you want to get it that epic, or just the future of, you know, your life and your legacy. You know, how crucial the influence on a child, you know, there is. Man. And how you have to be there. It's you.
Yeah.
Like, no one else's responsibility. You, Gracie, have Mela and Lily. No, nothing else.
Yeah.
No one else is going to come in and do that job.
Yeah.
And they're not going to look to anyone else. It's you. It's your job. You know, you hold down this fort. This is yours.
Yeah, like they always say, like, it takes a village to raise children, obviously, but having the mother and father is a different thing. Like, in our home, the day-to-day, yeah, like the community supports our family, like our friends and our other extended family. Like, we support each other. But the day-to-day with your own kids is everything. You know, they see you, they understand the world first interacting with you. So, man, it's almost like you got to be on point, and you got to be ready for all these twists and turns on top of all this. And that's why, you know, I think that's why people are scared to have families. They're scared to start a family, to have kids. And, you know, I see it all the time, like videos. It's like, oh, you know, I'm like, so-and-so has like someone I know has kids, and I see their life, and I'm like, I don't know if I want that. Well, my question would be like, well, how much are you willing to give then if you want to create people that are going to show up for you on your deathbed? You know, as crazy as it sounds, I think there is gonna be some sort, or there might be already, just a wave of men looking to start families with virtuous women and start nuclear families that will grow strong in a household and at home together to build the next generation. I think, I don't know, in my opinion, the world's going way too far the other way, where it's kind of like, you know, none of this really matters. Like, people look at the world like with nihilism, like nothing matters. Yeah. So why even try? That's sad to me.
I mean, it's sad, but it's also a survival technique, you know, psychologically and spiritually. That's why religion is so effective, is because it's a guidance. It's a guide to how to live your life. And I feel like a lot of nihilists, you know, atheists even, they find this sort of security in nihilism because it gives them some sort of, you know, direction in their life, rather than my life has a purpose and everything I do has a meaning. It's easier to just say, there is no purpose, there is no meaning, nothing matters. So live your life the way you feel. And there's a security in that as well.
Is it because there's no failure then?
No failure, no. I mean, it could be no failure, it could be no accountability, but I think if you want to go deeper, the psychology of nothing matters, then, you know, then everything is small, everything is simple. Yeah. You know, and you getting up to go to church is more trivial. You know, you're wasting time, and, you know, and it just makes life easier, you know, which in the same side of the coin, so does religion. Yeah. Right. And I think it's a guidance, but really the difference is, one, nihilistic is more outward, you know, what can I get out of the world? And versus something more inward, it's what can I give the world? You know, why am I here? And what am I supposed to give? What am I supposed to bring to this world? Yeah. And then, the other side is like, what can I get out of this? Yeah. It's weird. I mean, I feel like both extremes are very different, but also I feel like a healthy balance
Yeah, exactly.
is what.
That's exactly what I was thinking about. I was thinking about that one Kanye interview, and he was like, the quote is literally, it like, no, I think his quote was like, it like really matters, but it like doesn't matter. Like when he said that, it's like I know exactly what he means, because at some point everything matters.
Yeah.
The gravity of it, the magnitude, it's like everything. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the day, there's some moments when you realize none of this matters because I can die tomorrow.
Yeah.
So like I think that when we get to like talking about detachment from the world and like not being attached to anything material or whatever, like because you could end just like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's where like that the idea of one of my last posts was, you know, give it like the key is to give it, like true strength is giving it your all, then giving it all up. Mm-hmm. Like going to be the strongest version of yourself, knowing that you're so strong that you could die for someone else, and it'll all just end like that. And I don't know, that's how I see the journey of a person who cares about others, a person who loves others, which is why it comes back to the Catholic faith, like to give everything you can, to grow to be the wisest, most knowledgeable, mm-hmm. the most giving person, and giving yourself up mm-hmm. for the ones you love. That's powerful to me.
That's a life worth living, right? And, you know, I think it's just that existentialist question, you know, the existential crisis is twofold. You know, you have to realize that one day you're gonna die. You know, that's it.
Yeah.
So what you do with that, you know, do you plant trees for people to sit under with your time, you know, and realize that other people are gonna follow after you and they're gonna go through the same struggles? Why not make it a little easier for them because you came first? So it's like, hey, like, you know, put some what's it, like beans? Yeah. You know, like, hey, like this is a cool path. You'll be safe this way.
Like leave a trail.
Leave a trail.
For people.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not doing that, then, you know, I guess, what are you doing, I guess, you know?
Exactly.
But on the other end of it, you could be thinking that, but how are you doing that? Like, you know, like how are you really giving back to this world? Are you actually creating something that will help people? Or are you just living a mundane kind of life where I'm just going to stay safe? You know, I'm not going to do anything because I want to live long. Yeah. Which is great. I mean, of course, everyone
because I want to experience life like till I'm old.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it's like, oh yeah, I don't need that. I don't need that right now. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, there's that.
But that's what I would call the degenerate. Then life ends with you then.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to give anything that you've gained to anyone else. Like I want to experience life for me. Mm-hmm. And then just float off.
And then that's it.
That's it.
What kind of, I don't know what kind of life that would feel like.
We can't say how we would feel if that were the life that we live. But I know that there are people probably right now that are maybe nearing the end of their life and realizing like, oh, did I? Well, and this brings back to like the psychology of stuff, like Erikson's developmental stages. Mm-hmm. As an adult, middle adulthood and adulthood is just generativity versus stagnation. Mm-hmm. Like that's the battle in that age range chronologically.
From a simpler standpoint, if you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah, or if you're not, generativity in a sense of like giving back life to the people here.
You're not generating,
or
life,
I'm not doing anything.
Generating even feeling. You're not generating anything.
Yeah,
you're not.
Well, I would even argue that Erikson got it wrong. I don't think it's generativity versus stagnation, like staying there.
Yeah,
it's generativity or degeneracy.
Degeneracy sounds like sucking.
You're taking away,
you're taking
life.
Things, and you're sucking things towards you. You're pulling things towards you, versus putting things out.
Well, does life ever stay stagnant though?
Never.
That's why it's you're either giving or you're taking.
Yeah, and that's why it's kind of weird when I was hearing like stagnation. So I was like, so
that's Erikson's
staying in place. But I guess if you are staying in place, then you are falling behind.
Yeah,
because life is constantly moving forward.
Yeah, if life is not being given, it's gonna be taken away somewhere.
Yeah,
and I mean it's the ultimate balance. You know,
but that's like, the name of the game.
Psychology wise, right? Obviously, this is like I mean, whatever. Eric Erickson's like stages of development are like the deep roots of psychology, psychiatry, whatever. And it just analyzes where people are at with certain stages of their life. If you don't make it through that stage, or if you fail that stage, the argument is you get stuck there. And you might live the rest of your life. Level. Yeah, you might live the rest of your life. And I talk about this with my students all the time. Like, if you might have an adult right now who might be stuck in the adolescent stage of identity versus role confusion. And they never fulfilled that stage. So they're a grown adult chronologically, but still didn't process through who they really are. Or, man, making it even crazier, like the infancy stage of trust versus mistrust. When you're an infant, like you're supposed to gain like trust for the people taking care of you. And one trauma of someone damaging the trust for that infant, whether they know it or not, grow up and they'll never trust a person again. What kind of life is that person given now? Because of one person's decision to betray trust in that child. And see, and this is when we talk about trauma, like it's so deeply rooted that sometimes it's so deep that you'll never tap into it. And it takes a lot of really deep work to dig up trauma in the roots,
really digging into your past and finding your roots of where this trauma like originated. I mean, it's that thing of you walk into a room, like a dark room, and you walk in and then all of a sudden someone bangs you on the head, right? The next time you walk into another dark room, that feeling of getting hit on the head is going to resonate somewhere in your body. So it's a survival technique. So you go along with that as far as a child being traumatized from trust, or a child being traumatized, say, from feeling a bad feeling, like being late for something, being treated like they were stupid. It almost like as a child, we start to overcompensate for the rest of our life. I don't want to look stupid for the rest of my life ever again. Dude. I'd never want to feel that way again. So you stop trusting people. You stop opening up to people. It becomes a defense mechanism because your body rejects that feeling. So it knows when it's close. You start to kick in a fight or flight technique.
And it's subconscious, right? Like you have no conscious ability to be like, oh, this is what's happening. Like you just don't know. It's a program already for survival.
And you're already so far into your life that your whole life, it's like, I'm going to be very quiet. I'm not going to say anything that will make me look stupid. So you live your whole life being very caged and cagey with people. And they think, oh, he's just a very quiet guy. But deep down, it's like, I'm just trying not to look stupid in front of people. Or at the same time, they always talk about how the way that a person loves is almost a counteraction of the kind of love that they weren't able to get.
That they didn't get,
That they didn't get, So especially someone that feels like they had to earn their love. They were neglected. They kind of fall in love with people that makes them earn that, like earn it,
True.
Because they feel like that's what real love is, in that sense. They don't believe in real love until they had to work for it, right?
Even in their own way.
In their own way. It's like they won't believe it. So if someone even showers them with love for no reason, they're going to have this survival technique of, this isn't real. Something's off. You're right? Like I felt real love and I had to earn it. So it becomes like, oh yeah, women will be attracted to assholes. If they grew up with a father that wasn't there and they had to earn his attention. So it's ripple effects from children, from our childhood. Insane.
No, and that's what I think people don't really connect with. Like, this is why I can't follow like nihilistic thinking, because the lives around you are impacted by what you do or how you treated someone today, like at the store, at a restaurant, how you treated that person. It's a wave of energy that's going to ripple for a long time in that one person who you talk to for a minute. That can change someone's life. So it matters. And then we wonder why, why is why is there like a mass shooting here? Why did that person off themselves? And they're like, oh, they're just crazy. It's like, no, there was so many ripple effects that his boat couldn't stay steady on the water. And he just felt better it feels easier to just swim down. You know, that line in
Hamilton.
in Hamilton, yeah, that like it always gets me. Like the moments when you're in too deep, it feels easier just to just swim down.
Give into it.
Yeah, and now, I mean, that being said, like there are people that are in dire need of support in that moment, and it's very dangerous. So you have to give value to how you treat people and what you do and who you are, how you live. It is going to impact somebody, whether you like it or not.
I see, and it goes back to duality, though. You know, because like you said, you don't know if you can, accord to nihilistic thinking, but also at the same time, nihilism kind of comes with a little bit of selfishness, and you think about, you want to help the world, you want to change the world. But really, what you only really can affect and change is yourself. How you go in the world. So there is a little bit of nihilism and a little bit of selfishness of like, I need to be the best version of myself. So I have to work on myself.
Yeah.
In order to help the people around me.
That's the dynamic. Duality. Yeah, it's a dynamic thing. And I hate, like, it sounds so cliche because like, like my whole brand, I guess you could say, my perspective on life is not just balance, but it's the ultimate balance.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it was one of like...
I mean, is there a difference between balance and ultimate balance? Because balance is balance.
Balance is like, people think balance as like, I'm steady, like we're good. Like balance is surviving. Like, but in perspective, like I could be standing sideways, but the world is tilted this way. Yeah. So like the ultimate balance at the end I'm talking about, where like same thing I was saying, like it is selfish. You have to be selfish. I think that's why one of the few posts that I did on Dynamic Father was like, it was huge. I got a lot of response from it because it was, that last part of it was, we have to have a soul capable of self-love and self-sacrifice. Mm-hmm. How much are you willing to be and give? Are you willing to love yourself so much that it's worthy of sacrificing for love, for life?
Yeah.
And like, that's the duality. That's like, I mean, everything I post is all dualities because there is no right answer. There is no good man. There is no bad man.
No. Yeah.
And that's why I can't even say I'm a good man. I can't even say that. I'll say in every moment, people agree with me of how I do something. People disagree with how I went about this. All I know is that in every moment I'm doing my best, which is the dynamic thing that I do. I have to be dynamic in every moment.
Every moment. Yeah. And it'll never be all good and never be all bad.
Never.
Either way. If you started flipping a coin and it kept landing on heads, you're going to start questioning the coin.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And I like, that's why I think we've always talked, we resonate with someone like a superhero like Batman. He's an anti-hero.
I love Batman. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like the Dark Knight that no one like believed that he was actually doing good, but at the end he was the one we needed. So like arguably people were like, oh, that's a bad guy right there.
He's a bad guy.
That's subjective. Yeah. But at the end, is he really helping you move forward? And are you getting something from that?
Yeah. It's so funny. I mean, it's so cliche of us to use a superhero as as an example, but Batman is a great example. You know, he has a nihilistic view of life.
Yeah.
But his main mission is to save the world. It's that duality, and then you flip the other side of the coin. You got Superman. He literally can do anything.
Yeah.
You know, and he's just trying to survive in this world and try to fit in. You know, he's trying to find his place.
Man, you know, there was a with one of the like mentorship programs I joined. You know, there was a big debate about Superman and Batman, but also like it gave me a lot of perspective because the debate ended up being, or the way it started was, Batman symbolizes men, Superman symbolizes women.
Oh, that's interesting.
I've
never heard this.
Innately with the power. Superman is born with value. He's got power to live in this world. People look up to that already, like, oh my God, you're amazing.
He can do things that we can't do.
Yeah. And like not only that, but it's like the strength in this world is so much more powerful versus Batman, who had to build and train his whole life in order to be a hero, to be effective in the world. Superman he arrived. And it's like, I'm the shit, and I'm stronger than anybody else, and I can do whatever you can't do yet. And people like were like, they honored that already, but Batman had to work for it.
And you think that relates to men and women? Men have to work for that respect.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think. Well, seeing Gracie and her as a mother. I mean, just courting her in general was like, we all chase that virtuous woman, like the high value woman. Women are valuable already. That's how I view it. Like, what they can do is already of value. They can produce life. Well, I mean, obviously they need a man to do that, but you can produce, and like a woman just does it. I've seen the body do like amazing things, like grow a person. You look at a guy who's trying to make his way through the world, like when, we went to college and all this shit, like we thought that's what high value man was. You got to become valuable. Women are already valuable. I value that. I value Mela and Lily. I mean, maybe that's why if I was given a son first, I think I'd have a hard time because, well, I think God gives you what you really need to learn something new. If I had a son, talking to our friends that have sons, it's like, man, I don't know if I can, like, I think I would be too hard on my son. And I would probably tell him, like, he's freaking like 2 years old. I'd probably be like, you better become something of value, which sucks for the kid, obviously.
Yeah.
But I see my daughter, so I'm like, I'm going to give you everything. Not only that, but like, I want you to find a man that will provide for you. I wish, my hope and prayer is you find a man like me who will provide for you the way I want to provide for you right now.
Well, and then this is a radical question then. Would you ever see a future where you could raise Mela in a way of, you don't need another man. You don't need a man to provide for you.
Well,
you can provide for yourself.
Well, my question would be, what type of life do you want?
What type of life? Like,
do you value, right? Do you value family?
Do you value like tradition or?
Yeah. Well, not only tradition, but do you value creating life?
I see.
Because you need a man to do that, but you are not in charge, or you're not responsible to protect. I don't believe you're responsible to protect the man that comes into your life.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's like I would hope you look at life the way I do, where I'm responsible to protect my wife, my children. Versus I that's why it's like radical, right? Like, people nowadays are like, well, like, arguably women can fight too. 100%. It's possible. I've seen it, right?
Vikings.
But in my life, there's no way I'm going to put Gracie in front of me to defend me. Like, hey, fight for me, So it's the duality. It's the balance of the two of like, there's value in being a woman already. And I think that's where a lot of people get upset. Cause like, I don't like, if Gracie, got all the credentials and she works full time and all this stuff, and she's raising the like our daughters and like feeding them and, from her body already. It's like, dude, you're freaking, that's crazy. But my concern is, are you happy? Or do you feel like you're doing too much?
Yeah. Are you overwhelmed?
Yeah.
With extra responsibilities?
And then my question to me, because I'm hard on myself, is like, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah.
Making you work full time and being a mother and giving your body up for these girls, for raising our children. And it's like, hold up. Let me take the bullets. Let me take the grunt work.
Yeah.
Let me take the weight. So you don't have to. I want you to focus on the girls. I want you to focus on nurturing them. So, and this is the argument of like, whatever gender roles people say and stuff, it's what me and Gracie found as like what works.
Yeah.
For us, maybe.
I think the real discussion is strengths and weaknesses. Men have weaknesses and shortcomings.
Definitely.
Disadvantages of being a man. But there are also advantages, and vice versa. Women have advantages of being a woman and disadvantages of being a woman.
100%.
Comparing scores of who has more advantages or disadvantages, not necessary at this point.
Exactly.
But it's kind of like, Game of Thrones, Tyrion, basically, look at me. I'm a dwarf. What do I have to even the playing field? In my mind. Yeah. So I sharpen my mind like a whetstone.
There you go.
With reading books. Jon Snow, he sharpens his sword. But Tyrion is like, my strength is my mind. Let me focus on that. So as far as like men and women, especially, see, that's the thing. We're talking about men and women in relationships as a couple. focus on your strengths. Play to your strengths. The point guard brings the ball up, the center holds down the fort. Play to your strengths. If you flip the roles, if the point guard tries to hold down low and get the rebound versus the big man dribbling really high, bring down the ball,
What's
not as
practical?
advantageous.
Yeah.
It's not as practical.
We want to win.
Yeah,
in
of course.
life.
This is it. You want to survive. You want to win.
Exactly. And I think that's why what we were talking about earlier, it's like when hard times hit, people will revert to these roles because what's practical? What is the best opportunity we have to win?
Which is, yeah, I think that's why I brought up the book. It really reminded me a lot of what we were talking about.
The road?
The road. It's. I mean, you strip away everything in life, the luxuries of life, and it comes down to pure survival. We have to play to our strengths. Am I going to be able to show up every day on a whim to nurture, to guide, to emotionally stabilize a unit, to keep us focused, to keep us, going down the right direction, with the right emotional charge? Will I be able to do that? Probably not as good as a woman.
Probably not.
But can I do it? Yes.
Yeah.
As good as a woman? No.
No.
And it's like, okay, physically, killing, hunting, gathering, all that kind of shit. Can a woman do it as good as, can a woman do it, period? 100%.
Of course.
Yes. I was just watching that movie, Prey, right? It's about a woman, I 100% believe it. That's why women still exist till today.
Yeah.
That's why men still exist today. We've survived this long together. Yep. And I think, they can do it. But is it advantageous? And at the moment, do we have the luxury to, to to do whatever we want? No, we're just trying to survive. So let's play to our strengths. I think that's where it kind of comes in.
Yeah. It's going to expose, it exposes it because once you're faced with survival, what is the best way we can come out of this?
Exactly. And that's the thing.
And it's not, that's more objective than all right, well, how do you feel? I think that's what the conversation on the podcast with Gracie was like, if shit hits the fan and we're out, us as a family, we're out and something happens in the parking lot and I yell at Gracie, get in the car right now, close the door. It's not because and then Gracie goes oh my God, why did you say it like that? You're offending me. It's right now.
Yeah,
there's a threat. It's not because I want to direct you, because I'm a overly masculine person and just get in the car. No, it's I am responsible to protect us. So I don't mean any offense by it, right? Not that she would take it that way, but it's we're trying to survive.
Yeah.
So it's well, I don't like how you said that to me.
I'm not gonna get in the car because
not because you said so.
You didn't ask me nicely.
See, and it's funny because Grace is totally not like that. But given that situation, it's no, dude, this is how we can make it. I'm mission focused, and I think that's where a lot of things come up with respect, and she does respect the decisions I make or how I look at things. And I think that might be it. I think a lot of the root causes of people, relationships that quarrel and stuff, there is a lack of respect. And that respect starts with you respecting yourself. If we respect ourselves, you're worthy to be respected by others.
Of course, yeah.
So when if I looked, if I did my day-to-day disrespecting myself, just eating junk anytime I wanted, whatever, abusing myself or whatever, and my wife sees that, why would she respect me? So again, it all falls on me. I always take it as I need to be the best version of myself. I need to be a respectable person.
And see,
how do I do that?
See, and we're talking about stripping, everything away and bringing us down to our innate, almost animalistic instincts.
Yeah.
It's something definitely to talk about. And it's something that's definitely going to be important. And I think a lot of people don't see that far ahead how important it's going to be because we're living in such a life of luxury.
It's good times. It's easy times.
Really great times. We are in the times of, we can, Google anything. We can, I can play basketball on Mars on my phone with, Smurfs. I can do that. We're living in that time. So that's why it's not it's a topic that people don't necessarily feel is important to talk about, because our idea of survival is, can we pay our bills?
Yeah, exactly.
That's survival. Do I have a home? Like, how can I afford a home? That's survival. You know, of course, when everything is stripped away, back down to the prehistoric caveman days, this conversation is going to be a lot more poignant.
Yeah.
But in today's world, how are we going to survive the next 50 years? People are trying to talk about how they don't want to be suppressed. It's weird. See, that's why it's a weird subject.
Yeah.
Because in the moment now, people don't see in the future like how necessary it is to start planting these seeds now. I think that's the point.
Yeah.
And that's why it sounds radical, and it sounds like, oh, you're regressing man.
Yeah.
Humanity.
Or it's almost like you're bringing back like the patriarch in a sense of like misogyny and stuff. Like
No.
people would think of it that way, but
Misogynistic, yeah.
arguably, I think we're thinking about this. We're even having this conversation simply because we are thinking 50 years from now.
Exactly.
We have
That's
to think
the thing.
ahead.
You have to. Yeah. If you're not thinking 50 years ahead, then, what are you doing with your life today?
Exactly.
It's weird.
Like
to
you
say,
have
but
nowhere to, if you don't know where you're going,
yeah.
then what are you doing day to day?
And that's
if you're
where-
not working towards a goal.
And that's real circle with the whole existentialism. What am I doing in this world? Why am I here? And it's just, and you want in your lifetime to progress humanity. And I don't think having this conversation of what our animalistic traits are and regressing man back to caveman days, I don't think that conversation is unnecessary. I think it's part of learning who we are and having a deeper understanding of humanity.
Yeah.
And of course, women and men are equal. I think the reason why that it's such a big debate is because of history. That's it. Misogyny is a part of our history.
Yeah.
And not just the last 50 years. Thousands of years of misogyny.
Yeah.
And I think what people are trying to fix, and I'm, feminism, all that kind of stuff. It's what they're trying to sort of reroute is that, yes, women are equal as men. We all know that.
100%. Yeah.
But the way that the system has been designed for thousands of years, they're playing on a handicap.
True.
That's really what it is.
True.
So what we're really fighting about is a system that is so enrooted in life. We're trying to fix around that.
Yeah.
But as far as what a man can do and what a woman can do has never changed.
True.
I think we can all agree on that.
No, and that's exactly what I see, which is why the solution that I have to this is here in my home. Your family.
start here.
You should start in the home.
See, and that in a way that's
And-
a selfish thing. Like I need
Well-
to focus on what I can control.
Well, what I can control.
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, like, probably someone would watch this, they don't even know my family dynamic, and they're like, oh, this guy sounds misogynistic, whatever. It's like, dude, I have a wife and 2 daughters, and I value women more than anything.
We're feminists.
Yeah.
100%. We
and,
are.
And you know what? I might sound misogynistic, but I completely believe that women are more valuable than men. That's the truth.
Yeah, you come from that place. You come from that
That's the
place
truth.
of like,
And
we serve them.
Dude, just to think about it, like if I don't know who, I could probably look it up. I don't know who invented chess. Do you know who invented chess, the game?
I would love to know. Actually,
But
I should know.
I believe it was a man, right?
I
but
think
guess
safe to
what?
say, yes.
But guess what though? On the chessboard, the queen can do whatever she wants on the board.
She's the most powerful piece.
The king moves 1 square at a time.
Mm-hmm.
That already is the symbol of how I view my life. That I move 1 square at a time, and I have to work every freaking thing to build relationships with the people around me to protect me, because I'm going all in because I want to win the game. I want to win this war, and I have to value my wife and I have to earn her respect because she can do whatever the hell she wants. But if she loves me and I love her, she will protect me on this board.
Yeah.
And I think that is like just a big picture of, our relationships with people, our friends, like our bishops and knights and rooks. the people that we work with, like on the board, like, are you a team of people that look out for each other? Your family and your friends, are they the ones that are like your inner circle? Are you all working together? Because everybody's a king on their own board. Each of our friends is a king on their own board. And I might be a rook. I might be a pawn on someone's board. But do I support you? You know? Do I support my friend in their life, in their game?
And do you do the role that you're needed
Do
to
I just accept
in
it,
this?
embrace the role?
Yeah, in this room.
In that person's board, I might be a knight, I might be a rook. And I'm not gonna be like, hey, dude, like, no, I'm not a rook. I'm a
king, bro.
dude, bro. Like, in someone else's life, I support you from this role, and it's okay. I'm gonna accept it. I'm not gonna take offense and be like, wait, you only think of me as that, dude? No, it's like in everybody's life, you're some other piece.
I feel like a real king would be able to be any piece that's needed
For anybody else.
anybody else's board. It's like, oh, my knight was eaten, so I need that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And vice versa, if we were to switch roles, if it was my board, you have a specific role for me as a brother.
Yeah.
That I would trust you to help me win my game.
Yeah.
And if we're all looking at life like that, like a game of chess, it's like a Game of Thrones. It's this is life. And it's like people are like, well, who are you fighting against in life? The opposite end of what we're talking about of living a mundane, degenerative life. Living a life that promotes taking life from others and what I would call evil.
Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah.
You know?
I mean, yeah, like when you say degenerate, like my first image is like you suck life out of other people.
You're
So, yeah,
taking
I can
life
see that.
away.
I can see that. It's taking energy, taking life, taking, like taking some sort of hope. I don't know. Yeah, it feels
Vibrancy.
If you're doing that, then you are regressing. You are
Yeah.
regressing. It's not regressing. Isn't a mindset. Regressing is actually taking things
Taking
from
life
other
away.
people.
It's like you're sucking the vibrancy out of, like, they're sucking the color out of life for people who want to enjoy their life. And part of like enjoying that life is having to work for it, having to have others in mind. And if you're living a degenerate life, you can do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
But I want to associate with people who don't suck life away and take life away from others, whether it's directly killing somebody or the energy of and the stress of like pulling someone away from like being that vibrant life that they want to be. So like we've all, known people, have friends or whatever, that it's like, man, like you're really draining life from me when I don't have enough now to give to my own family,
Yeah.
to those that depend on me. So it's really tightening up that circle, and I always like, man, it always echoes every time I talk about my inner circle or whatever. And I always go back to Watch the Throne, like Jay-Z, FU squares, the circle got smaller. So like, people might think like I'm a square or whatever, but my circle's tight. And the castle got bigger, the walls got taller. That was his rhyme. But I love that because it shows who is around you and what type of genuine relationships do you have with these people.
Yeah.
And you want to generate real relationships because when shit hits the fan, it really matters who you have.
Who's right next to you.
Yeah.
Because, if they're not right next to you and, they won't be able to catch you. So
Yeah.
who's right next to you matters, right? And like there's that quote, you can't change your friends, but you can change your friends. Right?
Wait, say it again. Go.
You can't change your friends, but you can change your friends.
Oh, I got it.
You know what I
Damn.
mean? You can't change who they are as people, but you can change who's surrounding you.
True.
In a more simplistic way.
Wow.
So yeah, no, I definitely believe that. There's this feeling of, I don't know. I just have this constant thirst for knowledge and constant thirst for growth. So it's tough for me to not converse with people, and I feel like sometimes I'm a little bit of a bore or a little bit of annoying, where I like to stuff things up their own ass and like flip things inside out, and it's like, why are you breaking down, salt? Like, why are you breaking down like a fucking just a Rick and Morty episode? It's just supposed to be fun. But no, I have this feeling of growth, and I have this constant need to talk with people. So when I meet someone that just doesn't see it that same way, where they just want to just consume, they want to consume and then that's it. Like Rick and Morty, fun. That's it.
I just want to laugh. Yeah.
Just want to laugh.
Or escape my life and just watch this.
Yeah, and in a way, there's nothing wrong with that. But I can't. It's tough for me to vibe with that because I grow and I enjoy it more by understanding it deeper and understanding what we're getting out of this. So in a way, I feel like communicating and talking with people, same as film. Making a film is a communication. I think that is what is of utmost importance in a way.
Yeah.
So who you communicate with, when you get into a room, we're going back to our circle of friends, when you get into a room of people with that same mindset where we can talk about ideas, like real problems that we can solve, right? Then it becomes like, oh man, like that is such a fulfilling life. That is a room that I would want to be in forever, because we're progressing. There's some sort of, we're throwing things at the wall and trying to see what sticks and what works, and then until we realize, oh, this is it. This is what works. I love people like that. I love people that are willing to go that way with me. So yeah,
because you see life in everything.
Yeah. Imagine if you were the only person in the room that was like that, you would be the bore. You would be the annoying person.
You're the
And
square. Yeah.
Most likely I have been that person.
I think
certain
I would
rooms.
probably say the same about myself too.
Right? In
It's
certain
like,
rooms.
why are you making such a big deal over this little thing?
Yeah, exactly.
And because it matters.
Yeah.
Because it has life in it. There's life lessons in it.
yeah.
And if you don't see it, that sounds like a bore to me.
It is
that
kind
sounds
of
like a
bore.
bore.
And then also it's I don't know, there's a resourcefulness in that. Like I'm going to take whatever life throws at me and find out what it does, how it helps me, and use it to my advantage.
Yeah. It could serve a purpose for something.
Yeah.
It came across my path.
Yeah. And I feel like people look at me and they're like, dude, like, I was like, because I would say stuff like, I could find positive in something. Like, I can find use for something.
Yeah.
Or like even a person, I can always find the goodness in someone.
Yeah.
As bad as they are, as bad as they could be, I can always find some goodness in someone. And it's just like, oh my God, that's so annoying to some people, I bet. But the truth is that, yeah, if you don't approach life that way, I would feel bad to always look at things as like an enemy. Or like, I'm not a very competitive person either. I feel like people are very competitive. Video games, like sports, I feel like men feel like they only feel worthy if they're above someone, right? And we can go deeper into we can go deeper into that as far as like racism, classism, socialism.
You know what's
everything.
funny? The fact that you just brought that up, like, what day is it? Oh yeah, so yesterday I was, I worked with a clinical group at a psych hospital, and then there's one patient that always that I see all the time, and we talk. He asked me something about competition yesterday. He was like, he's like, do you think competition is good? And naturally, I refrain first. I think about it, kind of dissect it. How do I want to say it? Or what state is this person in? Because I got to gauge if this is going to be a bad conversation or a good one. And I said
what your answer will be could dictate that.
Yeah. And so, when I talk to my some of our patients, it's very general at first, obviously. Like I kind of feel them out. And I said, I believe all competition is good if you're aware of why you're doing it.
Yeah.
And like, what's the purpose of this competition? Because I think competition is good, even for me competing with my peers. Because if I'm competing with you in this one project or in this one game or whatever, we're both elevating each other.
Yes.
But if I'm competing with you to stand on top of you or to put you down or to show you that I'm better than you, only then am I degenerate. Right? And destructive. I'm destructive.
That's everything.
Constructive competition is we're competing because we want to be the best of each other. We want to show each other who I want to be my best and you're going to be your best. And not only who wins, but it's look how amazing, how better we've become.
It's oh man, like that's exactly what I was talking about with someone where as far as like I guess the question came up. It's like, oh, I'm not a competitive person. Then it's like, why play? And in my mind, I'm like, well, I learn something every time, win or lose. That's why I'm not competitive, because if I win, I win. But if I lose, I learn something. I learned a way that I could be defeated. Number one, I learned a strategy that defeats me. Right. And and then it teaches me, and with 1 + 1 = 2, it teaches me how to grow. It teaches me how to be stronger for the next time this happens. And it teaches me a strategy for the next time that to look out for, or to adapt and adopt, or not adapt, but adopt into already what I have, what I know works. You know what I mean? And I feel like I could be wrong. I don't know the history of the Olympics, but when I grew up, I always thought the Olympics were designed to share ideas. Like the world would come together, bring their greatest specimens, and it's almost like, this is our version of the perfect human being. Let's compare where we all are at. Not in a competitive way, but in of like, oh, look what Greece is doing. Oh shit, look what Russia is doing. They are doing this. Like they found a way, like through fasting, through breathing techniques. Yeah. Oh, Eastern philosophy has a more inner, peaceful, balanced technique. Germans, are very engineering. They know machinery. Yeah. It's like, well, they design a machinery to make us a better person. It's like, whoa. Like I felt like that was a pool of the world pooling their resources together and saying, hey, this is how we can create the best physical specimen.
This is our way.
It's our way. And you look at it and you're like, oh shit, that's pretty good. Yeah. Like American can look at Russia and think, damn, and that's pretty good.
Like the winner or the gold and silver could be separated by a 0.01 second.
Of course, yeah.
And like you can't say like, oh well, you got silver, you lost. But it's like, dude, loser. But that fraction of a fraction, it's like,
it's almost,
what was the difference? Like what was the thing that they did that made them that 0.01 second faster?
And tell me that person that was silver is not going to come back next year and think, I'm going to make up that difference. Yeah. And then tell me that the person that won gold is going to see that minute difference and think, I'm going to stretch that out. We elevate each other.
Exactly.
We challenge each other to be the best versions of ourselves. So that's why, I think your answer was great. Competition is good. Yeah. If you understand that it's not an ego thing. Yeah. Competition can feed your ego, and most often it does. But if you come to it from an ego thing, you win, that's it. Cool.
And to celebrate my ego.
Yeah, you win today.
No, yeah.
Sometimes you win a battle only to lose the war. I feel like, all those cliche shit of don't rest on your laurels, victory can defeat you. That's 100% true, because a lot of people that would get dopamine hits off of being the greatest, Pac-Man player. I don't know why I went that old. Like I'm like the ultimate video game player in the world. Like, cool. Like clout, get it, bro. Yeah. But, you won that war. You won that battle. The war's not over. Your life's not over. Just because you did that doesn't make you a good person, doesn't make you better than me, doesn't make you better than anyone else.
Yeah. What did that generate for the world? What did it build?
Yeah. and I mean, like, you can look at someone like Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, they value championships. But, for me, I look deeper into that. I look at what Kobe accomplished as a human being, not like philanthropy work. I'm not going to go there yet. Mm-hmm. We don't have to go there here in this talk. But as far as pushing himself as a human being, pushing himself mentally, what he's capable of, that was like the Olympics. That's Russia showing up with the heaviest deadlifter ever. And they're like, oh, this was the technique we used to train him. Kobe came in and he taught us a mindset. Mamba mentality, it's almost cliche now. But it's not about him winning championships. That was his goal. But he had to push himself and elevate himself to the point of being the best in that era. And even then he wasn't happy. He was done. Once he did that, goal done, mountain climbed, next one, raise my daughters, Man, it's something that I think humanity has tarnished. Competition, and competition turned into comparison. You know, we're comparing each other. We're evaluating, oh, who's ahead of me, who's above me, who's below me.
What's my
who's
status?
behind
Yeah.
me. Where do I fit? Yeah. Where's my ranking?
Ranking.
Yeah, where's my ranking in this world? And the truth is, there is no ranking in this world as far as humanity. There is a ranking as far as money. Status, like as far as like power.
Classes.
There is, definitely. But as far the way that life looks at all of us, we're all the same. We all die. There is no competition. Whoever can live forever is really the winner. And the truth is, none of us do. We all die at some point.
Shit.
The Queen Elizabeth died recently.
Yeah.
She was the queen.
Yeah.
Death comes for everyone. So, yeah. I don't know how we came full circle as far as like existential. What we do in this life. Everything is a tool. Everything's a tool to be a better person, and to, when you are that better person, help other people be their best person. Help them be the best person that they can be. And then vice versa, they're going to help you become a better person. You're going to help them. That's life.
That's what life's about.
Yeah, that's really what it is. And then eventually you'll die, your children will live on, and they will help other people by the same way you help them.
Yeah.
And then life goes on and on.
And all you can really hope for is that you affected them in a way that when they are our age, they look at life the way we're looking at it right now.
Yeah.
And it's just a cycle of life giving back to itself and starting life again. And it's a life experiencing itself for itself.
I mean, I wish I could have a conversation with, the 18-year-old version of me. Because the 18-year-old version of me had so many, I guess, goals aren't the right word. Dreams are a little too strong. But he had an idea of what life would be like because it was all still ahead of him. And then, 17 years later, almost twice that amount, I start to realize, I want to have that conversation with that young man. Sorry, that sounds kind of weird. I want to have that conversation with that young man, and just remind him, what you do in this world is still up to you. It's like not everything will work out the way it's supposed to work out, but living a life of helping people and living a life that is worth living because eventually you will die. That's important. That understanding of you are gonna die is the big difference that I'm feeling now versus when I was 18. I know now that at some point all of this will turn black, and I don't know what happens after that. And obviously we all have our ideas of what happens after that. Heaven, hell, darkness, blackness, nothing. We don't know for sure 100%. So it's kind of like, it's not about just getting to that point. It's not about living so that you can die and that's it. There's something in telling myself, a younger self, that yes, you are going to die and your life on this world is limited. So with that in mind, the nihilistic version, now that you know that you will die and that your life is limited, every moment of your life is important. And every moment of your life means something if you choose for it to be that way. You choose to put purpose in every moment of your life, you will live a happy life, and you will look at that void or that unknown of what happens after it, and you will look at it and not be afraid, not be concerned about it, and not dwell on it. That like, oh shit, like that's all I'm living for. And I think because it goes back to religion. People have that fear of what happens. They just want to know that after all this, we're gonna live eternal happiness in heaven. They just want to know that
there's peace at the end.
There's peace at the end of this, and they just want to know that, and it helps them to live their life a little bit more comfortably, and it helps them to live their life a little bit more like, okay, I want to at least do good, so I can enjoy the happiness at the end. So yeah, I think that's what religion does for people. That was their defense mechanism in order to stare down that existential dread, right? From a nihilist point of view, it's like, I'm staring down existential dread. This is all going to go away at some point. So I might as well make the most of it. And I might as well do what I feel is natural to me. Right? That's the Tyler Durden kind of stuff. You
Embrace
are nothing.
who you really are, like innately.
And, that's why the extremes of that. But yeah, going back to what I was talking about as far as talking to my younger self, that younger self looked at the world and thought, oh, I have time and I can, I just have to go. I just have to live a good life and I will get to heaven. And that's really all I need to do in life. Just be good and then get to heaven. And while that is not wrong and that's not bad, I think it's also kind of half-assed. Being good and going to heaven is great, but why were you the one on this world to do that? You know what I mean? Why were you, if you were just going to do that, run your race and then leave, and then that's it. You didn't help generations become better. You didn't help anyone below you become better. You didn't teach them something.
Yeah.
And you didn't,
And you might not even know that you stomped on people on the way up.
Who knows?
You never know.
You don't know. You don't know that.
Because you don't have anybody else in mind.
Yeah.
At that point.
So it really comes back to that balance of me understanding now that this is all going to end one day. Mm-hmm. So make the most of it. How you make the most of it is up to you, right? Whether you spend the rest of your life eating, Taco Bell. Is that a great life for you? Good. Happy. You're happy.
You're happy.
I doubt it, but I doubt it. As great as Taco Bell is, you're not gonna want that every day of your life. That's beside the point. But the truth is that I think it's that balance. I think it's that balance because it's probably obvious now. I went through a whole existential dread. I went through a whole existentialist crisis.
I think if you haven't reflected, I think everybody has.
Mm-hmm. Because that's the question. Okay, and I don't know if you're even going to edit this part out, but really, and I'm only comfortable talking about this with certain people, especially only with you. It's like, we grew up Catholic, and that security of heaven is just waiting for us. Just keep your arms and legs inside the ride. Be a good boy.
You'll get there.
And there's that comfort in that. When our faith was shaken, through the ups and downs of life, when that was shaken, it made me question, is heaven even real? Mm-hmm. And that question frightened me. Because for the first time in my life, I started realizing, if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, what happens? What happens after that? Do I become a ghost? Do I go to purgatory? Does God meet me up in the clouds and say, man, you stepped too soon off of that curb, bro? like what happens? And, not that I'm an atheist or an agnosticist, but it made me question, if heaven doesn't really exist, how do I live my life? How do I live my life? How will I live my life if I knew that heaven didn't exist? And innately, it's almost like it's not like I wanted to be a bad person all of a sudden. It's like, oh shit, heaven doesn't exist. Let's fucking let the sin begin. It's not, it wasn't that.
It's not,
It wasn't that realization. It was almost like, okay, so if heaven doesn't exist, what would that change in me? Will all my virtues go away? And I thought, no. I'm going to live a life that, do unto others that you want done unto yourself. Nothing really changes in that way.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like that, when you break down humanity to a core, all religions, Hindu, Buddhist, Judaism, if all of their monarchs and all of their gods, if Jesus Christ sat in a table with Muhammad, I don't think they would have any bad arguments. True. I think they would be friendly to each other. Jesus would treat Muhammad the way he would want Muhammad to treat him, and vice versa. I think that is at the core of its religion. There's something that we innately have as far as goodness.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's where that whole existential dread and like, what does life really mean?
Yeah.
And what are we supposed to do with it? It could trigger you into a way of, fuck it, let's do whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah.
Or fuck it, I'm just gonna do what I feel is right. Be a good person, because we know what's good. We know what's pain, and we know we don't want it. So we know not to give it to someone else.
I think that's the key. Like if you feel wronged, or if like you said, like there was a time where our faith was shaken by people. Part of what I understood was, or what I felt was, I want this to end with me. I will not continue this cycle.
You won't pass it on.
Yeah, I won't do this to other people the way I looked up to people, and then you feel like people are your heroes growing up, and then you meet your hero and you realize, oh, you're just a man.
Yeah.
Some of them aren't even
shit out yourself.
Yeah, some of them aren't even, what I would consider a good man, right? My subjective nature. But it ends here. Like I won't continue. I won't treat somebody the way I was treated.
Yeah.
By these people. That gave me an understanding of, okay, if it's going to end with me, then I realize I have to be more virtuous. I have to be more principled. I have to be more honorable. Because I thought it was like, this is the virtue, honor, respect, principle. And then that was disrespected.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, okay, so maybe it's more. And that launched me to the path of, where do I learn more value? Where do I learn more principle? What is honor then?
Yeah.
What's a real honor, if you ask me?
And instead of looking out to people like other examples or role models, you look deeper into yourself.
I look deeper within myself. I didn't look up to the clouds, but I looked deeper within myself, into the darkness of myself. And guess who I found? I found God again.
Yeah. See, and I feel like that's a nihilistic trait. You know what I mean? Nihilism has a bad connotation again, but the same way you were saying, this ends with me. You're taking it upon yourself. It's like the responsibility and how, like, yeah, that's you. I'm gonna. That's a selfish thinking. But also at the same time, you're also thinking, I'm not gonna let anyone else feel this way.
Yeah.
Anyone that interacts with me is not gonna feel that way. So yeah, you are thinking with the balance of, altruism. That's the word. So altruism. You're being altruistic in the sense that you're worried about other people feeling the way that you felt. So you're protecting them.
It's crazy to even think about. Like, there's like a wheel on the inside of another wheel. I pictured the Citadel in Game of Thrones, it's like, yeah, it's wheels turning on over each other, protecting the core. And that's exactly what I pictured, because there is a cycle of nihilism that we need to have, the self-love. And it's all about me. But it's also like the giving of others, like giving to others, the giving of yourself for others, the self-sacrifice. And it's like those wheels are constantly turning.
Yeah.
And I think you do need both to discover like how powerful you really are. And when cycles stop with you, you then in turn create more cycles, hopefully of goodness.
Better cycles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Better habits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like the constant turning of it, like, and I guess that's what gives value to experiencing life. That you might not be or reach the status that you were shooting for as an ambition, but who you become and how you understand life. Life found something through you.
Yeah.
And that should be enough. It's not like I'm going to be remembered. It's
not that ego.
What cycle did you create? What type of life did you create for others? How did they change? How did their life change because of you? They might not remember you by name, but like that one energy that I felt.
Yeah, feeling.
Like that changed the way this person looked at their relationships with their family.
Yeah.
And if you value that.
This person made me feel loved, and this person made me feel understood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think people don't value those little interactions throughout. And I always encourage my students, when you interact with a patient, they're at their most vulnerable state. You better be aware of what energy you bring. Because negative energy will prey on a vulnerable person, whether you like it or not, whether you have the intention to do it or not. But like, misery loves company.
Yeah.
And you have to be aware, right? Like what you're going to impact the world. At least try to control how you impact the world. At least try to control what type of energy you bring. Yeah. Because people are going to feel you before you even say a word. You walk into the room, people could feel you.
I mean, I'm a firm believer that it's like, I'm not a scientist by any means, but we're all made up of the same matter. This chair, this aluminum can, we're all made up of the same matter, just reorganized in different ways with different ingredients. But we all come from the same thing. And our bodies produce that same matter. Our feelings, we resonate. It resonates and it affects the things around us.
It does.
You know, warmth, heat, energy, there's something there. That's why mood rings exist. You know, our temperature in our bodies, we feel it from each other.
Yeah.
And we're constantly exchanging energies. And I think once someone understands that how sensitive we all are to each other, I think once you understand that, you can either use that as a tool and an advantage to help people, or degeneratively suck life out of other people. Take it. And I think going back to your mindset as far as this ends with me, if you had a different mindset of an egoist mindset, not the fact I'm saying note the fact that I'm not saying nihilistic. I'm saying an egoist.
An egotistical
mindset, right? Thinking, oh, they made me feel this way. What's their thinking? I need to make them feel this way.
Yeah.
Even us out.
See?
It's like a revenge thing. So it's like, it's a constant back and forth. You get two egoists going at each other. You made me feel this way. I'm going to make you feel this way. Now we're even.
Yeah.
Oh no, you made me feel this way. I'm going to make you feel it's just this constant eye for an eye. But with the mindset of, and see, this is why I go back to balance of nihilism and altruism, because as a nihilist, I think none of us matter. We're all the same. None of us are better than anyone else. We're all going to die. That's the nihilist in me. So with that thinking, I'm no better than anyone else. No one's better than me. We're all helping each other. It creates that, for me, that's what creates that empathy. That holy shit, I'm going through a really tough time right now. They're probably going through a really tough time right now. They're probably, everyone's going through really tough. That empathy comes from that nihilism. So in a way, that mindset kind of just the same way you said, this ends with me. I'm going to take it upon myself to be a better person so that no one feels that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's circular.
Yeah. I think everybody gets that feeling, but whether you listen to it or not, if you come from a place of pain, like people have hurt you or whatever, it's very difficult to think of like, oh, this cycle ends with me and I'm going to swallow this pain and I'm going to give life to people. It's like, if you've suffered so much pain, there is a point where it's like, you know what, fuck it. Everyone needs to share my pain now.
Yeah. You just bring people down with it.
And then there you go. That's when you have like mass shootings and whatever it was, like people that have done unto others horrible things.
Yeah.
And it's like that cycle of trauma has to end somewhere. But who's willing? See, I think that's what it is. It's like, who's willing to take it?
To eat it.
To swallow it and stop it there. And that's a lot to ask somebody.
Yeah.
Because the world, everybody is full of trauma, severe or mild, whatever it was. Everybody has an accumulation of trauma. Now the question is, who's willing? Are you willing? What would it take for you to be willing? Would it take you to have kids to finally understand? Damn, I have to embrace and I have to deal with my BS because I don't want it to affect them.
Yeah.
And for some people, you need to have that big, overwhelming pressure and risk where it's like you have no other choice but to think of others now. What will you do with that choice?
Immediately you are humbled. Immediately you are like, you're immediately the bottom of the food chain.
Yeah.
You feel like that's a choice, or it's like,
well,
innately.
It's innate. It's weird because now like you see someone who's vulnerable, who literally depends on your decisions. I think it's in the heart of everybody to be like, I mean, I don't know. I like to believe that if someone sees a baby or hears a baby cry, they're like, oh my God, like protect the child. There are rare cases probably where like people hate kids. I don't know. They hate babies or whatever. But I think it's natural when you see someone or something so vulnerable and innocent, like we have this nature to protect.
Yeah.
You know,
even animals have that.
exactly. Like I mean, like we were watching Tarzan like a couple weeks ago, and it's just like just that, like the animal kingdom found a baby, a human baby, and it's like they took it as their own and protected it from harm. Like I have to believe that life does have this natural instinct to protect itself.
Yeah.
Survival. And that survival mechanism is care for others. But again, someone can be damaged to that point where they already lost. They already lost that love for others, that love for life.
Or they go on through life very self-centered, egoist thinking, always ranking themselves. Where do I rank in this world?
And some people just want to watch the world burn.
Because they know, nihilistically, they know that they're not the top. So the only way to even us all out and let everyone know, hey, we're all the same. We all burn.
Yeah. Dang, we all die. It
equalizes us.
Yeah. It's like it's so, I mean, dude, this dove way deeper than I thought it was gonna go. But like we said earlier, if we're not having these conversations, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Because I think these are the conversations that move people forward. And I'm completely aware that like I'm not here to entertain people. Like I want to bring in the conversations that my daughters will see when I'm gone. And like, what do I leave? And these conversations, I hope, will just be out there for people to find. I'm not here for just views. I'm here for life itself. I want to support life, ideas.
Yeah, throw the stone in. Oh, sorry. And just throw the stone into the water and let the ripple effects get to the other end.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's why going back to like our life as a retrospect, I can't regret and I can't be bitter about the things that happened, because it brought me to this point where I realized that everyone's going to have a life like that. And if I had someone, like talking to my 18-year-old self, if I had someone there to tell him like, hey, life is going to go up and down, right? But that's okay. That's okay. That's how it is for everyone. You're also no better than anyone. Everyone goes through it. And at the same time, just try to enjoy it, make the best of it, do good with it. Not do well, do good. Yeah. It's like, that's just really how it feels. Like, that's what makes me feel like, okay, that's a life worth living. Doing that's a life worth living. And it's definitely become a lot more clear to me as time goes on, but I think it's only because I'm open to see it. I'm open to listen to it, and I'm always open to add it to my life if it's going to make it better. We had talked about this as far as like going back to religion, and I don't know, you could probably cut this out now at this point, but as far as like we were talking about religion coming full circle, I feel like I'm not full circle back, but I feel like things are coming around. And it's not that I'm looking at Catholicism and I'm thinking, oh, it's flawed and hypocritical, and there's a lot of contradictions, but I'm not going to say that it's wrong. I'm not saying religion is bad. I'm saying religion is good, but it has to be used in the right way.
There you go.
Can't use it dangerously.
Like
Weaponizing it.
Yeah.
And I feel like people look at religion as a be all end all, and that if you don't have it, you're lost. That's how we were raised. But I tend to separate religion and faith now. They're not synonymous to me. I feel, and I'm going to quote David Bowie on this. He says, religion is for people that fear hell. Faith is for people that have been there. And that resonated with me, where I'm not spiritual and I don't have faith because I don't want to go to hell. And I'm not good because I don't want to go to hell. I'm not good because I want to go to heaven. That's not why I'm good. I'm good because I've felt pain. I'm good because bad was done to me.
And you want it.
And I want
it to stop with you?
I want it to stop with me. That's it. So that's not why I'm spiritual and not faithful, because I'm afraid of damnation.
No, yeah.
I'm not afraid of burning in hell for eternity.
Or being judged at the end. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I'm more afraid of hurting someone the way someone hurt me. I'm more afraid of affecting a life in a negative way, possibly hindering it and rerouting it to the point where they don't feel like it's worth living. And now I'm more concerned on being good and helpful so that people can live a happy life. They can feel the goodness and they can live in the sun and not always in the shadow. And I feel that is using religion or faith even deeper in a good way.
Yeah.
In a good way. So, yeah, I mean, it's not bad to be religious. It's not bad to be not religious, but you can be a good person.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And whatever helps you be the person that you're describing, go all in.
Be the version
that.
that you want people to be as well. That's where I'm coming around as far as like religion.
Yeah.
Full circle, going back to what we were talking about.
Yeah. I think that's why, like, I think when I started putting out more, like, I came back full circle to Catholic faith. I did feel a lot of people like be like, whoa, dude, like, relax kind of thing. Not you, but like just in general. But now it's I'm 100% convicted. I'm convinced that there's a practical way to live. And there's wisdom in the practice.
Yeah.
Now, when we talk about like the Catholic faith and like the hypocrisy and all that stuff, I'm thinking beneath that. I'm thinking past that. These are men.
Yeah.
Who are trying. I'll give them the benefit, like they're trying.
Human error.
Yeah. And everybody's human, and I'll give it to them.
Yes.
But when I talk about like just the raw form of why we do things, why we honor things, why we pray, why we give energy, when we do vigil, when we sit in a room and meditate on life and talk to a source of life, why we fast, why we,
why we speak to plants.
I mean, why do we do penance, right? I think that there's so many actual like wise things that are beneath all that. But, growing up, we weren't taught those things. We were just told like this is what you do.
This is it. These are the rules.
And I think that's what turns us off in our rebellious stage of like, oh, just because like you're supposed to?
Yeah, just because God said so.
Yeah. See, but and when it comes down to religion, like you said, like we're all matter in this world. Like this is all matter. It's material. The world is matter. It's Mother Earth and all that stuff. And this is why I think I have a better understanding in my life. This is how I view things of like, having all this, it's material things. It's, we gain life in this world. When I talk about religion and the discipline practices, it's because it's a pattern of behavior that would help me appreciate matter, appreciate the process of life creating itself. And the discipline practice of it is why I'm like, dude, I knew the Catholic faith from growing up, but I didn't understand it the way I do now, where it really counts.
Yeah.
Where I have these objective little people. If I don't show up, like, if I did whatever I want because like this is what I want to do, like things won't get done. And I think that's why, and like it's not because like, Catholic's the right one. No, you know what? Whichever one helps you understand life in its rawest form.
Yeah.
And sparks you to do what we were talking about, like giving back and being the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
I think the best part about the Catholic faith, remember the faith, not the men, not the people. The best part about the Catholic faith is that it humbles you. I used to think like sit, stand, like why are you in mass? Like, sit, stand, like, it's like humiliating to like, stick out your tongue and then the priest puts a host or whatever.
You submit
because you're humble. And I think that's why, in order to lead my family, I had to submit to an authority in this space. Who's the authority in this space? God, and the commandments he made is not just because you should listen to him. It's because this is the best outcomes I've seen. People that follow these commandments.
Yeah.
So in a sense, it's like, in order to have people submit to the lead that I'm bringing, the authority, and people hate these words. I'm going to throw it out there. I don't care. The authority, I had to submit to an authority. Otherwise, I'm acting like I'm God.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. I think people are you know, and I'm not like saying people are wrong. It's more of, that's not the life I want to live.
No.
To pretend like I have the authority over everything and I'm in control of this. And I think all the shit that happened to us in life, like family and struggles that, you know, me and Gracie had to go through, it crushed us. It humbled us to submit to an almighty authority that, yeah, at the end of the day, this is not yours.
Yeah.
Life itself is like, you're just a little blip of this whole life.
Yeah. It really puts things into perspective.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
Because you got crushed.
Yeah.
And now, like, you look for purpose in life. It's like, then why am I going through all this?
Yeah.
Right? And that's why I realized it's the giving of yourself at the end. And I think that's what resonated more than anything else. Because, you know, we talk about Stoic philosophy and like sacrificing yourself, like, you know, embracing the arrows as they come.
Yeah.
For what? Because I'm a Stoic philosopher? No, because it's worth it. Who are you protecting? Who are you leaving a legacy to?
Yeah. What will this tree do for future generations?
Exactly. Thinking past yourself.
Yeah.
So it's, again, being your strongest version in order to die.
Well, die honorably in a way. But I mean, and without trying to make this much any longer than it needs to be, I feel like coming around full circle, I do believe Catholicism is a good religion. I do believe that it has a lot of inconsistencies and contradictions. You know, just as like watching Belfast, just the kid saying, it's like, oh, you know, if we were a Catholic, we could just not go to church and then go to church next week and then apologize and
confess it.
confess it
Yeah.
and we'd be fine because it's like a rule. It's a transaction.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, for me, I take the good of Catholicism, and I don't know if I can necessarily call it Catholicism anymore, because I just take the good of it and I see where it overlaps in other religions.
Yeah.
In all of the religions. Like
It
going back
does.
to the Jesus and Muhammad sitting at a table with Buddha. I feel like, so the big difference between Western religion and Eastern religion, do you know the difference? I mean, it's apparent in a way that Western religion, we look up to a God. There has to be a God shining down.
Like a hierarchy.
Looking down on us, controlling everything. And we work our way to be more like him. We work our way up. Eastern religion is you ground yourself. You touch the ground and you feel the earth, and you realize you are just one of billions in this world. Molecules. We're all. And Eastern religion looks deeper into ourselves. We look deeper and deeper into our souls.
Yeah.
It goes down. Western goes up. Eastern goes down. So where's the middle
Well,
ground,
imagine
right?
my freaking fascination when I read about the Eastern Orthodox Catholic faith,
Yeah, that's where I was going.
the Desert Fathers. So when I read up on them and their lives, like the monastic life, that's when it really brought me down to, like, there is a group of people that in its rawest form practice the Catholic faith and still have the belief, the hierarchy in God, but in a sense of, not that I'm here to control people beneath me, but I'm here to create something that God wants, and I'm out here in the desert by my fucking self.
Yeah.
Now, those books move people like me. Then are those people, like, did they live and die and just disappeared in the desert? Or did they apply life in a sense of grounding into the ground? And, like, it's, again, the dynamic of it. You want to sail to the highest heights, but you also want to swim in the deepest depths.
Yeah.
And where is God in all?
It's everywhere.
Yeah,
He's
like
everywhere.
at the highest and at the lowest.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, when I didn't even, like, we grew up, I don't even think we even talk about, like, the Eastern Orthodox Catholic
I
faith.
never learned about it until we talked about it.
Yeah, and when I read about it, I was like, oh, so there is, like, the monk of the Catholic faith.
Catholic's face. Yeah.
And at that point, it was, like, super intriguing. And it made me realize, like, this is something I resonate with. So when I say Catholic faith, I'm not saying Western religion, Western, like Roman Catholic Church. I'm not knocking that or whatever, but you see the more flaws in those people who create an organization of hierarchy and, like, you know, whatever the statuses and stuff. These guys, and a lot of them are from, like, Russia. They call them the Desert Fathers. They separated on their own and applied the life.
Mm-hmm. They took away all the bullshit.
Damn. Yeah.
They go out.
They took away the politics, all this stuff.
Yeah.
To apply, because it takes everything to apply it. While they're trying to apply it, you can say in the Western side, it's like we're applying it, but yeah, we're bickering about who's who.
We're comparing.
Yeah, and at that point, who fucking cares? Like, are you applying it? Like, that's the idea.
Oh, you sin more than me though. Like, why the fuck does that matter?
Yeah, exactly. and you know, like, oh, like you confess to me, like, what, dude? Who cares?
Yeah,
but
I'm closer to God. Oh, I didn't know God was a distance. I thought he was in all of us.
Exactly.
Wow.
That's why, like, it I think that was what solidified it. It was just like the Eastern Orthodox showed me that there is a way, and there are people that are able to apply this life, the faith, along with the practice, without all the bullshit of men. Because we're full of shit. All of us. I realize I am stupid and I don't know shit. And sometimes I need to be given, like, give me what I need to do.
Yeah.
Because it's already hard to do it. Sometimes it's like, all right, like, not just the steps, but it's like, what are the things I need to do in life? Sometimes I'm so dumb that I just need to be told straight up, because it takes a lot of energy already to do it, to live that, you know?
Save the energy to do it.
Exactly. For when it really counts and where people are going to be affected. And again, it's that discipline practice, that suffering that we try to embrace through whatever we have in life. Like, I don't want to do something. Who cares? Do it. Fast, a dopamine fast, like, abstain from something and see how you, a feeble human, will squirm for something, you know?
Yeah.
And then now it brings you down to mortality. Like, you're fucking nothing unless you have a higher source of life that you follow. Why am I here?
Yeah.
If I have no direction.
Yeah.
Because those people that don't have that direction or purpose, for some reason, they think that they can direct people and lead people. Well, where are we going?
They think they know better.
Exactly. And at that point, that's why a lot of my posts are about humbling yourself, because you're not God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if there is no, exactly. So if there is no God, who are you?
Exactly.
And that's, oh man,
I mean, going to the Eastern Orthodox, it's like, I mean, that's not even new. That's like
ancient.
You know, yeah, it's like for centuries, right?
Yeah.
And like the thing about it is like even that, it's still younger than the Catholic religion, Christianity, and even that is still younger than Greek, Roman gods. Yep. And even that is the Egyptians. You know, you can go further and further back, and the truth is that at the end of the day, Catholicism is different from what it is now, from when it started. So if anything, you know it's going to change, but there will be things that will be a constant, you know, as far as what we've been talking about, goodness. So yeah, even this Eastern Orthodox thing, it sounds like it's a new radical religion.
No, yeah.
You want to create a new religion, whatever. No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's just another, like, it's just something someone shared. Really pooled our resources and said, hey, here's a way to live life.
Yeah.
Does that work for you?
Yeah.
And you take it.
I don't think that would have been revealed to me until I challenged what I was told.
Exactly. You
challenged the authority.
The authority
of how we were supposed to think. And I'm like,
yourself.
why?
You challenged even yourself. Like, I don't know everything.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I challenged God. And he showed me how feeble I am.
He humbled you.
He humbled me.
Yeah.
And then in the darkest, I'm feeling around like, what do I do? Then you learn about, like, all right, for some reason, like, these things, these little practices, like discipline, like fasting, to the point of, like, you're multiple days in and you're just like, what is the purpose of this? To give up my wants and desires for the greater good, because it makes me stronger.
Yeah.
And then things started getting revealed. Like, oh, there's this whole side that I never knew. And it's not new, but I would never know that if I was too busy arguing with God and the authority.
And that's a vast difference from the way we saw religion growing up.
Exactly.
And the way that a lot of people still see
They still see it that way.
They see it like, oh, look how good I follow the rules. Follow me because I'm so good at following the rules.
Yeah.
I don't do this and don't do that, and I'm such a good person. But really, it's like, did you grow? Like, did you learn? Did you adopt and absorb the real teachings, or did you just follow the rules because you wanted to not smear your resume to get to heaven?
Your image, yeah.
It's a big difference. It's a big difference from I need to find out the best version of myself and to help people be that best version versus I need to be the best version of myself because I don't want to go to hell. And these are the rules. Fuck, I'll follow them.
And follow them blindly.
Yeah.
Because that's what I was told.
That's what all I want to do is get to heaven. See, there's a big difference in that. How do you help people when that mindset of I just need to get to heaven, so I'm going to color within the lines. Right?
But when you challenge it is where you really learn.
You learn how Jesus Christ, he challenged Judaism, which was the main religion at the time. And he was a radical thinker. And people were like, whoa, who's this Jesus guy? He's doing some weird, different stuff that we're not supposed to be doing. Like, he went into a sinner's house. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
He's going to hell. Is he? Right?
Yeah.
Just because you follow the rules doesn't mean you figured it out and that you're the ultimate role model. Not necessarily saying break the rules. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying is you have to challenge things. You have to challenge, like you said, you challenged it. You challenged God in a way of show me what is really important.
Yeah.
And he humbled you and said, boom.
Yeah. When I said, like, I'm strong.
Yeah. He challenges you.
He said, all right, let me see.
It. Yep.
And then you realize we're not.
We're not. The real
Humbled.
strength is getting up from failure, not never falling.
Yeah. Getting up and not giving up.
Exactly. Because I refuse to believe that anyone's lived this world without falling at least once.
True.
And in Catholicism, we call that sin.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's revered to live a life without sin. And I think Jesus Christ may have done it. He may have done it. And that's a blueprint. But is it possible? Is it possible? Yes. But is that the common thing? No. So the truth is, no one's all good. No one's perfect.
Yeah.
And just because we don't see your sins doesn't mean you can judge ours at the end of the day.
Exactly.
So really, that mindset of I'm just going to be a good person versus I'm going to be a better person than you, totally different. Totally different. That's kind of a jump, but yeah, altruism versus nihilism.
Yeah,
it's all there.
It is. And I think the only way that you could genuinely, objectively see it is to see how people interact with the world around them, because you can see that people are actively living in hell in their life.
You mean like their own
that
life
they're not
is
happy,
their own
that
personal hell?
that they're angry at people, that the way they interact with the world is always from this negative energy or whatever. You can feel it.
I mean, I could feel like, you say that the people are living in hell. It's not a physical thing, right? It's not a room.
It's a state
It's something
of being.
inside of them. They're hell inside.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole different conversation of heaven on earth, hell on earth. But maybe that's for the next podcast, if anything.
But yeah, the truth is, what it boils down to, none of us are better than anyone else.
Exactly.
No one is more important. We all are here trying to figure this shit out together. That's the key word, though. Together.
Together.
So let's figure this shit out.
All right, good.